that we
Hello?
have. Hello, hi. I'm being told on the hotline we have we have a hyphenate on the hotline. It's a comedian / actor / author. A new hyphen has been. Well, those aren't hyphens; those are slashes.
Were you waiting for Mike Birbiglia? What's going
on? No. This is Todd Barry, who out hyphenates Mike Birbiglia now by one hyphen. Right? Where's his book? Does he have a book?
What's that?
Does he have a book?
I think he has written a book.
Okay,
that wasn't
then.
a swipe against him. I was just trying to be funny.
No, look, it's a race to see who can collect the most hyphens. And you...
It is, I'm very competitive.
That is the one thing, Todd Barry, that people notice. It's like this guy, it's always like an All About Eve situation with him. Look over your shoulder, because he's coming for you.
Yeah, man. It's dog eat dog.
Now, Todd Barry, thank you for coming on the show. Comedian Todd Barry.
Mm-hmm.
You, true or false, have written a book called Thank You for Coming to Hattiesburg.
I have written a book and published it.
Yes,
not myself, not self-publishing.
No, it's not one of those things where you look at the spine and it's like TB Publishing, like where it's clearly your company.
Right. It's not there was no infomercial that led me to a publishing deal.
Yeah. So they made a whole bunch of these in advance.
Yeah.
These are not being made to order. It's not like you're getting, like you order one and then somebody's like, fire up the
letterpress.
Yeah, let's run one off. An order just came in for Todd's book.
They are hand embossed, though. Each one is individually embossed.
They are. No, these are mass produced. This is a real book. This is not a pamphlet or a
no.
This is an imprint of Simon and Schuster Gallery Books.
I know, man. It's the real deal. It's big time. It's they're going to lose money on it. Everything's happening.
And when did the book come out? A couple weeks ago?
It came out March 14th.
And it's still available?
No, I took them off sale.
Oh, so now people have to you better just comb your bookstore and hope you find a copy that...
It's like a pop-up donut shop or something. They had 1 week to buy them, and then that's it.
So just if you had your shot.
No, they're still available wherever you buy books.
Yes, this book.
And even audible.com if you like listening to books.
Did you record the audiobook?
I did. It's kind of a nightmare, but yeah, I did.
How is it a nightmare?
I know. As I said that, I realized that there's people who probably have more nightmarish experiences than recording an audiobook. So instantly I caught myself, and I'm back to being a great guy.
Well,
who's empathetic.
A nightmare. Look, everybody has a box, and the box gets filled with whatever you fill it with.
Exactly. I meant it was time-consuming, and it ate into my charitable donation time. That's why. Sure, that you just couldn't do the usual work you're used to doing. You were just, when will they let me out of the booth? Reading a whole book is just, especially your own book. It's just, it's a lot of work. It's the first time I ever felt I should do a vocal warm-up.
To try to keep the
pipes.
Yeah. The consistency.
Yeah. The timbre.
You ever listen to an audiobook and then you can tell when they stopped a session and then they start it again? Like,
I've actually never listened to an audiobook or read a regular book.
So you are one of the few people who you've written one book and you've read zero. So you're just like you're almost tied. It would not be hard to tie it up. You just have to just knock one book off.
Yeah, maybe a Judy Blume or something.
Yeah, you could start off with the Judy Blume, like that book, what was that called? Fudge or something like that. Wasn't that one of her books?
Really? She had a book called Fudge?
What was it called? Super Fudge.
Oh, she really had a book with fudge in it.
Yes, Super Fudge. So you can maybe go pick up a copy at when you go to your local bookstore and you're just doing inventory on your book.
When I'm going to bookstores and moving my book from the shelf to some table where it's more prominent, I will buy a copy of Super Fudge.
Yeah, when you're just like, this won't do. My book, this is just back on the shelf. Now, this book, I will say, it's a great book, Todd Barry.
Thank you.
Congratulations on, you did it. You wrote a book, and you wrote a great book.
I don't know if it's great, but yeah, it's got its moments of unbelievable greatness. I wanted to go from completely humble to the worst ever, and I think I just did that.
You covered it in one sentence. It started off, I was just like, you're trying to move books here, Todd. Why are you saying it's not great? And then suddenly it became unbelievably great before the same sentence was over.
How do I do it?
Well, this book, it's about the life of you out and about for basically a year. Mm-hmm. A year's worth of you playing secondary and tertiary markets.
Yeah, I got to say I learned the term tertiary from you. I'd never heard that term, and you used it once, and I was like, I fell in love with that term, and that's why I have a book deal.
It just, I will say you signed my copy of the book, and it says, Tom, ! Tertiary, ! Todd Barry.
Yeah, I never know what to write when I sign autographs.
You're just swinging all over the spectrum here from, I'm not sure if I don't know if you could say my book is great, to, I don't know what I write when I sign autographs.
I know.
It's a nightmare recording the audio book for your book. No, but so the book, you basically set out to document a year and change of your professional life, touring all over the world.
Right.
And kind of revealing, it's like a look into just the day-to-day part of you being you. And I would say that this book could be subtitled, it could be, Thank You for Coming to Hattiesburg, Read this and be on your best behavior, comedy club owners.
Oh, because you saying I call people out? Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, you say that this is a bummer when this happens, and this is counter to trying to do actually good comedy when somebody does this and that, and it really just it kind of shines a light on things that in a very kind of broken down like day to day existence version of it. It's not like a heightened thing. You're actually grinding it out one meal at a time and one show at a time, and I think I told you. In fact, I know I told you. I'm not going to say I think I did. I said to you, I felt the book was you telling your story without specifically telling your life story. It's kind of like a look into who you are through a different angle.
What you're saying is I'm a closed book.
Well, I'm saying you're that you could say that your work is you. Is that fair to say? That's fair to say.
My work is you?
That it's you.
Me?
This is you. This is your life. You showed your life day to day, week by week. You showed over a year of your life here, and it's you grinding it out, going and doing shows in places where maybe you haven't ever been, or people don't get comedy regularly, and you're just doing your thing, and it's a very kind of human story.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of, I was surprised when I wrote it and I was going over it how many times I switch hotel rooms.
Yeah, yes.
There's like 5 different chapters where I complain about my hotel room.
Where you had I think there was one where you were not nuts about the noise.
Right. You get that hotel room where they try to just pass it off. Like, all right, there's construction going on across the hall. Let's see if we can dump this room on somebody who won't care. And then they pick the wrong guy.
They don't realize they picked somebody who's actually going to use the room also. That you're not just dropping your bags down and then going to a conference all afternoon. You have nowhere to be all day.
Exactly.
And you'll be out for 5 hours and then back. You'll be there all afternoon, back again. Yeah. So
unless I crash a conference, then that's
Well, you actually at one point do go and crash an improv show, which was what was it again? It was like it was
a woman came up to me at this hotel in Missoula, Montana, and she introduced herself and she said, "Yeah, my improv troupe is doing a show for electrical workers in this conference room later tonight." And I was like, "That is the best offer I've had in my life." Yes, I will be there. And then I went in there, and it was just really weird because she was. I was like nervous walking in just from a performer's perspective, just like nervous on her behalf. And I walked in there, and there was these guys like basically dressed like they were just installed lighting on a highway, sitting around watching people do like guess a phrase improv, and they were killing.
And that was you just, this woman throws this out thinking it's just like, oh, he'll never go to this, not realizing that you're going to these towns and you're basically going from town to town looking for the town to show you why it is a unique place.
Right. I mean, those are like some of the happy accidents, like when I went to Iowa City and there was the Iowa Anime Convention in my hotel. So there was just all these people dressed as anime characters. But just the idea of that in Iowa just seemed unusual. And then they actually had tables set up where people could take off their makeup in the hallway. They had little towels. So the rooms are not being smeared by, like the shower towels are not being ruined by smears of unremovable makeup. Yeah, so I mean, it's not like a Tommy Lee biography, but you're not Tommy Lee. You're Todd Barry. Tommy Lee writes the book Tommy Lee writes, and Todd Barry writes the book he writes. That's true. Why am I competing with Tommy Lee?
Yeah, it's like you're right now. You're at the Tommy Lee's seen his best days come and go.
Right.
You
it's all happening for me.
This is it right now. You're at the shank of your career, so to speak. This is like right in the middle.
Oh my God, I've never heard that term before. That's the best.
You're like a golfer, like the way these golfers, it's like these guys play other sports and they're burnt out by the time they're like 30 years old. Mm-hmm. With comedy, this is a lifelong thing. You're right in the middle of it now.
Yeah, it's like I'm just breaking.
You kind of are in a way. It's like that now you have a book and it shows who you are and it tells your story, and you've been opening for Louis the last bunch of years. You opened at Madison Square Garden.
Right.
And so you're more people know who you are now than ever.
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
And this is, I would say, if you were a publicly traded stock, I would say if Jim Cramer was talking about Todd Barry as a public, he would hit that button that went, buy, buy, buy.
This would be like buying Apple stock in like 1981 or something.
Yes, exactly. Jim Cramer would say, all in on Todd Barry right now. This is a sleeper. It's been moving up slowly and steadily. It's ready to take a big leap forward now. Buy Todd Barry.
What do you think my future holds?
Like, what do you mean as a stock?
Yeah, like career-wise. What do you see my next few steps? Because I don't know what to do next.
I think you just lean into the stand-up now. Now you just lean into it. Now you become that road dog that you say you're not, but you are a little bit. Maybe now you go and now people see you come and they know you're coming to their town now because they've seen you talk about going to other people's towns.
I hope that works like that, but I don't know. Do people get famous? Like, I don't know if comics get famous because of their book, right? Isn't it the other way around?
But I think it all one thing feeds into the next thing, right? I'm sure you're doing interviews in places that you haven't normally done interviews, and you're getting seen by people who might not normally know about you, who aren't like comedy nerds and are just who you're kind of you're reaching different circles now.
Yeah, I mean, I did one of those radio tours, you know, those where you sit in the room and they're like, all right, we're going to Marion, Illinois now. And you talk for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And all right, we're going to Evansville, Indiana now. And they talk for 10 minutes.
And they punch you from market to market.
Right. And half the people, well, maybe a third in this case, had no idea. You clearly were reading a sheet as I was calling to find out who I am.
But I think you've always just done, like, what keeps you, something's clearly kept you going to have to go to places that aren't these major markets and just live kind of, because there's that circuit that any comedian can kind of just know that they're going to play to people who are, it's like money in the bank. If you just went from New York to Philly to Austin, to Chicago, to the places that you know the people are going to be there for you, to Portland and Los Angeles, and just like you could just do that circuit over and over, but there's clearly something making you go to these other places to the degree that you're doing it. Yeah, I mean they're you know, as the title said, they're very appreciative when you come there because they don't expect you to come there necessarily. If you go to Chicago, they're not going, oh my God, how was Chicago added to your tour dates? That's unbelievable. Yeah. But if you go to Fairbanks, Alaska, they're like, wow, that was kind of a haul to come here. Yeah, people know because the things aren't rolling. It's very easy to lose sight of that when you're in like New York or something where there's 14 things literally every night you could do. Right. And people are just, in other places, people just aren't showing up. But you're not doing that. You're not doing that. What do you think you're getting out of that? Because you're not doing this out of some sort of martyr thing. You're not rolling through like it's not like you're the postman delivering mail. Remember that movie, The Postman? I vaguely remember that. It was Kevin Costner. I guess he was like in a post-apocalyptic thing where he did Waterworld, and then I guess that did just okay enough that he was like, I think we're going back to the well again. Another post-apocalyptic movie. This time I'm a mailman. That movie got like raked over the coals, right? Yeah, that was a really bad. It's a bad movie. Is it like bad fun bad, or is it just bad bad? I think Waterworld is more bad fun bad. I remember The Postman being kind of just like, oh, this sucks. Like that kind of bad where you're like, yeah, I'm not going to sit and watch him deliver packages to bombed out towns out of some sense of obligation. Who signed for the packages in that scenario? Yeah, and is it like the kind of thing where it's like, where somebody's like, he shows up and they're like, that's my son. He's out looking for things. Like I kind of need his signature on this. Or like, oh my God, my sweater from LL Bean arrived. Yeah, the most inconsequential package that the postman is taking across the planes that have been nuked. But you're not going and doing this out of some like what do you think you're getting out of going to these places, Todd Barry? I mean, part of it is I can't, I don't.
don't write fast enough where I can be like play Chicago or Minneapolis 4 times a year. So I sort of run out of the bigger cities in a way. And then, it's kind of no different to go to a place is a little off the beaten path as far as getting your little crowd of people. I'm good for whatever amount of people I get almost anywhere. I'm not like an arena comic where they're like, yeah, we don't have a place big enough in Hattiesburg for you to play at.
So there's a baseline that you can generally hit that makes it worth coming to a town that's off the beaten path.
Yeah. I mean, I could still, like, it's not going to be like, oh my God, you only have 4 people show up in Mississippi to see you. It'll be more like 44.
Yeah, and you're hitting like, I guess that's the low end of the scale according to the book when you're rolling through these places is like 40 or 50 people are there.
Well, I mean, I was exaggerating for hilarious comedic effect. I probably had well over 100 people.
But I'm saying in a worst case scenario, it didn't seem like you went below like 50 something people.
Yeah. There was no. I mean, I guess some people would consider that dismal, but for me, that was like you can do a show for 50 people.
Yeah. What do you think I'm doing right now?
Oh. If I only thought there were 50 people listening, I would not be on the phone.
You would have hung up already. This would be. Andy Kindler wants to know, is it true you used a 24-point font for your book? I guess so. That would make it so there's 30 words on. He just wants to know whether
he'll be able to read it. Is what he's asking.
Oh, see, that's the back and forth. Yeah, you just torched him. He went onto Twitter, the cock of the walk, kind of. I'm gonna dress Todd Barry down in front of everyone right now, and now he's probably going to delete his account.
And the sad part is I actually sent him a free book today.
Wow. See? Now how's he going to feel when that free book shows up? And he realizes he did nothing but try to undermine your promotional tour.
Right. I showered him with love, and he showered me with just vicious font insults.
Yeah. And, yeah, I am not comfortable with that. I was merely the messenger on that one.
You could have protected me from that, though.
I should have shielded, to be fair. I should have shielded you on that. Well, let me just tell everybody, this is Todd Barry's on with us right now, and his book, Thank You for Coming to Hattiesburg, is out, and you can get it in a bookstore or digitally or as an audio book, and he will read it to you. And now, do you pretty much go as it, like you read the book to people? Because I listened to Bernie Mac's audio book at one point, and he went so far off of his own book a few times. He just started talking, and it was just nuts that he looked at his book as like a teeing off point for what he was going to say that day.
I mean, that's what I would have liked to do, but then you realize I'm already going to be in here 7 hours. If I start flying off the rails, it's going to be 15 hours. But I mean, there's a few moments where I shift things up, but mainly it's the book. The book is just so wonderfully conversational that I didn't really need to ad-lib. Oh my God, that's the best thing I've said so far.
That one is at the top of the leaderboard.
Home run.
Yeah. Was it hard? Was it hard for you because you have a very distinctive tone with your comedy that is it kind of swings between your kind of being braggadocio, I guess is what you say, or you being wildly self-deprecating.
I know.
And what was that like to try to get that tone down where it was just words and you not being able to sell them the way you're used to selling them?
I was kind of just banking, because I was worried about that, because if you say something sort of faux braggy, it might not read as faux braggy. You know, the way tweets are misinterpreted every single day. So I just kind of took a chance that I'd do enough of the bragging that it wouldn't come across as real bragging. But yeah, I mean, I guess even if it does, then I don't know. Someone will put that in their Amazon review, and then someone else will be really intrigued by that.
And be like, yeah, this guy. So he says he's a mock braggart.
I know. Okay. I shouldn't even actually
add to cart.
I think you shouldn't talk about something that you're doing mockingly, because it's like me walking around saying you have an edge to you or something. But I blew it, Tom.
Todd, you did not blow it. I've read. The proof is in the pudding.
What was your favorite chapter, Tom?
My favorite chapter, I'm going to look. I actually have the book in my hand right now. Let's see. I enjoyed when you went to Israel.
Yeah.
I enjoyed when you shoehorned your way onto the Oddball Comedy Festival.
I don't know if I shoehorned, but I did ask to be on it, yes.
Okay, when you request, and look, why weren't you? You should have been on it. That's you cleaning up someone else's mess. The idea, because at some point someone was going to go, wait, where's Todd Barry on this thing? Right? It would have been who?
And they're like, we're waiting for him to shoehorn his way onto the show.
Yeah, we figured we'd make him come to us. And then I would make it seem like I was that he was shoehorning himself onto it. No, but that's also the thing about it, is that you're very kind of, there really is no pretense to so much of the nuts and bolts of so much of this stuff that it's like, yeah, this is kind of what it takes for somebody to make a career work where you're not packing out arenas or theaters every night. It's like that's what it takes, is you have to kind of, you're grinding away.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's like, unless I don't have like a TV show or anything, so might as well just do some shows, right?
Yeah, and you actually did make a comparison early on when you mentioned Mike Watt and his whole approach to things, which I thought that made a lot of sense to me. The idea of a guy like Mike Watt, who's always been just about, like you actually quoted his phrase where it's like, if you're not playing, you're paying,
right?
Because you're losing. Either are you out on the road to make some money, or are you out to just lose money? And any dead night is swinging the other way. So yeah,
I mean, he's way more extreme. Like, I'm not going to do 50 shows in 50 states in 50 days.
No, you're not going to
save $85 on a Hampton Inn, but
yeah,
and then be sick for half the tour.
That's exactly. There's not a lot of stories about you sleeping in a cold van.
Yeah, it's not. I was actually reading to prepare for writing it. I was reading Get in the Van, Henry Rollins' thing, and it's just like, oh my god, it's just like, if you have like more than 3 gigs in a tour where someone's throwing urine at you, you need to rethink
and
the band you're in.
And there's that moment where you're like, okay, so we're in a van, and they added in basically galley style storage compartments for the humans for the 3 bands that are in this one van. Uh-huh. So it's us and Painted Willie and Saccharin Trust jammed into the same van, and it's like you're in steerage. It's like they're like animals flying across the country.
And all that staying at people's houses, and it's like, oh, God. Just showing up and hoping someone invites you to stay at their house.
It's like,
I don't even like staying at friends' houses.
Yeah. You know what? You want to know what, Todd? I got to say, I'm glad to hear someone say that out loud now. I can't do that. I can't. I'm so uncomfortable because then it's like, I'm just going to have to go back to this other place and then we'll meet up in the morning because you don't want me here in your house. Like, trust me, you don't want me here if we're going to do what we'd like to do with our friendship or working relationship. It's like, I'm going to go somewhere else when it's nighttime and we'll
there's just
fresh.
That extra, like, even if you're not the type, I'm sure neither you or I are, like, trashing our hotel rooms, you still, like, might want to leave a hand towel on the floor or something.
Yeah, or not just be like, I can't find a thing. It's, I noticed that the sink is still running and, now I have to wake your friend up and be like, the hot water doesn't seem to be going on. Is there something I can do? It's like, well, now if you stay somewhere, then you just call and you're just like,
right.
Hey, hot water's not working. What's going on here? Yeah. We just need to navigate through this world, Todd, is I think what we don't want to be noticed.
We just want a little simple hotel room, that's all.
Because and this is the thing. There's a very Zen-like quality to your moving across the country where you're just like, I just need a room that is correct. I need to just know where I can get some coffee before my show, and I would like to get some food after my show. And it is like, that is literally all you're asking for from life.
Way to ruin the whole book for everyone, Tom.
Well, I apologize. Look, hey, Mike, can you edit this stretch out of the podcast? Tomorrow, just edit the spoiler out. But it's one of those things people are where they're hearing me talk to you now. They know that you live in the book, and then it's not like the final page of the book is like you saying, and then I drew my last breath. I am dead now.
It's not an ambiguous ending like The Wrestler.
No, where it didn't freeze with you picking up a last microphone. Todd, if you go up there, and you're referring to The Wrestler because you played Wayne. The
Talk
character.
about shoehorning something in. Oh my God.
And The Wrestler, Mike. You remember Mike, Todd, out there?
Yes, I do remember Mike.
Mike still talks about how they shot The Wrestler in Bayonne. They're so proud of that there. In Bayonne, these are the things they talk about in Bayonne. The Wrestler was filmed here. The part of War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise was filmed in Bayonne. The guy who wrote Game of Thrones, George R.R. Martin, was born in Bayonne. And
that's a big one.
Immediately got out, though. He has yet to return.
Moved when he was 6 months.
Yeah. And the guy from what's it, an Efferdent commercial, Mike, or something? Was it? Pepsodent. A guy who played a doctor who isn't actually a doctor, but portrayed one in a Pepsodent commercial is from Bayonne. So they really have you're a part of a very storied fabric of show business.
I love that guy made the list. Like, it's all solid things to be sort of excited about. Yeah. And then the guy who played a dentist in a Pepsi commercial.
I would bet he's putting himself on that list. It's just like, hey, don't forget the guy from that Pepsodent commercial. He sure made his mark here. He did us proud. And then
probably got it on IMDb also, right?
Yeah, but Mike is so proud that The Wrestler, you're acting. That was your tour de force.
It was.
Where you were the guy who yelled at Mickey Rourke, and because he wasn't slicing the meat correctly, if I remember.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I thought my acting career would take off after that.
Look, I think, Todd, you don't know when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen, but you're doing the thing that you have to do. Is you're out there and you're being great, and people are laughing. I'm sorry, this sounds like I'm doing. The show has not changed since you last were on it, Todd. This is not. I'm not doing like some Pete Holmes kind of like motivational cheer, like happy spirit. Like it's like no. I make it sound like I'm doing some kind of uplifting thing here. You're Todd. You were always Todd Barry. You've always been funny, and you're still being funny, and you wrote a funny book. I guess that's the only way to say it.
I appreciate that, man. Let's move some units.
Yeah. Of the book. Thank you for coming to Hattiesburg, which is put out by Gallery Books. Gallery, not Galley.
Yeah.
A galley is in the publishing biz. Little inside publishing is an early a sneak peek at the book, which I did not receive for this book.
No, I wanted you to have the full. I wanted you to have the full final edition that has 7 typos in it.
That's nice. I just read a galley of a book, and it had 4,000 typos in it.
The best typo in my book is one of the tour dates is listed as 2018. But I don't know. I'd expect 2 editors and 5 copy editors to pick up that very subtle mistake. But
yeah, well, you keep them on their toes, and that's. There could be a case that's like a collector's move, that they fix it in the next printing, and they're just like, Todd, we did that because that's now the first printing is a collectible.
It's like that stamp where they printed the plane upside down, and they're worth like $18 million if you have one of those.
Yes, the stamp printed upside down, or the baseball card where the guy wrote F face on the bottom of his bat. Did you ever see that?
No, I didn't.
Remember Cal Ripken?
I do.
Well, his brother, Billy Ripken, who it sounds like a fake baseball player when you'd say like, yeah, Cal Ripken's brother Billy. He also played a little bit, and he had a baseball card that on the nub of the bat, it says, it's written like F face. And it became like a collectible card that,
is it the F word, or is it literally?
No, it's the F word. No, it's the F word. Yeah. Look, this is this is not on the radio anymore, but we run a clean ship here, Todd. I'll put it into lingo you'd get. It's like Jim Gaffigan, the way,
right.
Or what's his face? The other clean guy there,
Regan.
Brian Regan. Yes. The way, we keep it clean because we can. And it just suits. And you keep it clean. Your show is not a barrage of foul language, and
it might be sort of PG-13 at its raunchiest.
But it's always with you. It's always the well-placed. The curse is like a stab from a knife.
Yeah, I have one F-bomb in my current repertoire, and I like when people refer to that word as an F-bomb.
Yeah, people you get like a gasp when they hear that, because they're like, I thought this was going to be like they have to reach over and cover someone else's ears, maybe.
Like the club advertised clean comedy nights.
Yes. And then, is this guy going to keep this going? That was one of my favorite parts in the book, is when you had an opener who went on and was just beyond filthy, and you now have to follow.
Right. That's happened a few times. And in that particular case, I was lucky because when she was done, someone in the audience knocked over an entire table of drinks in the front row, and that caused a little ruckus, and then I got to ride that wave of
just all anybody,
tragedy in the air.
Yeah, all anybody could talk about was the upturned table.
Right. It was so I was off and running when that happened.
Well, Todd Barry, you
Yeah.
know when you hear that tone in my voice.
Yeah.
You know where we are on the train ride.
You gave me a lot of time, though. You gave me a lot of stage time.
But you want to know what? You deserve the full freight, full celebration now, because you're no longer just a comedian. You're no longer a comedian actor. You are a comedian actor author, and your book it's legitimately great. And
thank you for reading it, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, and I'm very happy that this is the book you wrote, and this is how the book you wrote came out. So
that's great.
Yeah, and it's called "Thank You for Coming to Hattiesburg." And I'm sure people are saying to you now on things, and I want to say thank you for are they?
Yeah, they are.
Well, I'm not going to do that then.
And it always makes me angry.
I thought I had figured something out that you would be. Wow, that was a fun twist on things. He really got me with that play off of the title of my book. But then I had a feeling, that maybe somebody else beat me to the punch on that one.
It's like I got 15 tweets from when Chuck Berry died saying, "Sorry your uncle died."
Yeah, that.
And the first 14 landed pretty hard, but then I got a little tired of it.
What if he was actually your uncle and you're just
I know. And he changed the spelling of his name.
Yeah, exactly. And it just
to disassociate himself from me.
Yeah, if people look, the records were Chuck Barry for a long time. And then around 1996, he started changing it to, he went back and made it Barry.
Right. He's like, I invented rock and roll. I don't need to be associated with someone who does pizza jokes.
Well, Todd,